farming all this. And Daddy had bought a John Deere tractor, and he was tried to pull it in gear and didn't stop the clutch on it, and tore the gear off in the transmission. And I remember how it had one gear was bad. We had to carry it back to the John Deere dealership, and they had to tear it apart and put that gear in. But it happened right over in here. And all that property there was my granddad's.
Was it wooded like that, or was
I
it
think they
farmland?
gave him about $35 an acre for it.
50.
Huh?
50.
They gave him 50?
Yes. And he could have kept all the property that the lake backed up to, but they sold it.
They took it. They wouldn't let him keep it.
Well, I've always heard you tell that he.
They wouldn't let him keep it.
Okay.
Because that little nook up there,
Mm-hmm.
the water was going to go across it, supposedly wasn't going to
But
go
I
across.
thought though all that over there was he could have kept that for $50 an acre, but he sold it to buy the farm.
No, I don't know who told you that. I never have told you that. They come in here, they didn't give him any choices. And they took his whole farm, and he went up the road and bought another farm. And I got a picture of me and him standing on, you've seen it, my ground picture I got with me with my granddaddy.
Mm-hmm.
And the house was right out in here.
Mm-hmm.
And we were standing on the front porch of the house.
So who owned that land and sold it to those people?
That land.
Core?
Where did his land start and end?
Or did he not
Did
own
he
that?
own-
His land started.
On this side of the road?
His land started. Yeah. It was
So
on
all
this
his
side of
land
the
is
road.
under what?
His
It's either-
land, the road.
The
came
road
through.
ran right through. You see where that land's falling in right
Yeah,
there.
that's where the road went.
Road came and it came out right in that cove right there.
Yeah.
100% I know that.
So
So he
the
on this
land
side.
was-
There
either-
was a Rock Springs they talk about. Came down through here and went right out down through there. He owned everything on the right side of the branch.
How many acres you think?
I don't know, 60, 70, 80 acres.
How did he get that property?
What?
I mean, that sounds like you got some money, but back then, if you had 67 acres, you didn't have no money.
I've heard my daddy tell the story. There was a family named Preacher Merritt, and evidently he had lots of money. And my granddaddy, two brothers, Uncle Yank and Uncle Tom, married Preacher Merritt's daughters. And evidently he gave them farms. Because Uncle Yank had a farm up there, and right across the road, Uncle Tom had a farm. Well, this property, the property we lived on, was another Merritt that owned it, and he had died, and we rented that farm, Daddy did. Well, on this side, this farm over here, the Preacher Merritt had a son named Wallace Merritt. And this was his farm. Well, Papa Vickery bought the farm from Wallace Merritt. I don't know what he gave for it, but I know I've heard my daddy tell the story. One year, and he made one payment a year. It was one payment a year. Well, one year, Papa Vickery didn't have the money to make the payment.
Mm-hmm.
So he told Daddy, you recording this, he told Daddy, said, come on, Merritt, we're going to go up to Wallace's, and he lived on the Mount Olive Highway and ran a little store and had a gin. He said, we're going up there, and I'm going to give up my place because I don't have the money to pay him this year.
No.
So Papa Vic had about 5 or 6 or 7 children, and you know, it was a bad year, and they just didn't have the money to make the payment. So Daddy said he and Papa Vickery went up to this man's house, and Papa Vickery told him, said, Wallace, he said, I'm going to have to give up the farm because I don't have the money to make the payment for this year. Daddy said, Wallace Merritt, this gentleman that he bought it from, said, Shan, you need to farm worse than I do with your family. He said, we just gonna mark this year off. He said, maybe next year will be better for us.
Oh, wow.
And Daddy was talking about those things don't happen with banks.
Well, he could have, because he's paid in it. How many years you think before he missed that payment?
Oh, several.
So he could have taken it back over and still had all that money that he paid into.
There could have took it back
Yeah.
and had what Pop Vicker had paid for all those years.
Yeah.
Because he was defaulting on the loan. But
And then back to the Corps stuff though. The Corps took this at $50 an acre or whatever.
yeah.
And when that happened, when they heard or the discussion was coming up about the Corps taking the property, were they excited about having the money to be able to buy another farm, or were they?
Well, they had done moved out from down here. They were living in a house up there on Shoal Creek.
And why did they move?
Well, they had gotten older, and Daddy had rented a farm up there from Dewey-Pulliam, and we were the only one left in here. And Uncle Garton ain't Louis.
No, meaning that you didn't have no neighbors or nothing.
Oh yeah, but he didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
To look after him, and they had gotten elderly, and they were thought they needed to be close to a kid. So Uncle Garton and Aunt Louise had a house up there.
Mhm.
And they rented this little house, a 3-room, it had a kitchen and a living room and a bedroom. And they rented this little 3-room house from Uncle Garton and Aunt Louise, and they moved up to Shoal Creek from down here.
Mhm.
Well, when the Corps of Engineers came through and bought this place, I don't know that they were ever really happy being in Shoal Creek. I don't know.
Mhm.
Because they'd always lived down here in Rock Springs.
You had some too.
Went to Rock Springs Church. And when they came through and bought this place, he had some money and he went up the road, and there was a nice farm up there, about 67 acres. And me and Daddy,
Is that the same Rock Springs church that's still there now?
yeah, I used to go to that church.
We should go there some Sunday, just go.
Out standing out there on the steps. So me and Daddy and Pop Vicker went over to Anderson, and we went down to a little branch, and the guy was down there repairing Coca-Cola wooden crates. And I think his name might have been Lum Haney or something like that.
Oh, Lum Haney. That's the band name.
And so Pop Vicker told us, said, Mr. Haney, I've heard that you might be interested in selling. And it was the old Preacher Merritt farm, the original Preacher Merritt farm. He said, I've heard you might be interested in selling it. And he said, yes, Shan, I would sell it for a price. And so they stood there and talked right there on the Pop Vicker bought it right there on the major agreement right there at that old little, had a little shelter. And so when he bought it, there was a guy named Clinton Rickflower lived in it. And he said, you know, I'll have to give Clinton time to get out. And he said, I'd like to give it either 3 or 6 months. Pop Vicker said, that'd be fine, that'd be okay. So he bought it, and then when Clinton moved, Daddy and I guess Uncle Ty and I don't know who, Uncle Ty house that he lived in and died in, he got the old house that was down here that Papa Vicker and Mom Vicker lived in. You could buy these houses back for almost nothing from the Corps of Engineers because they were going to push them down and burn them. So he bought the Papa Vicker and Mom Vicker's old home place, his home place. Mm-hmm. And he and some more came down and took it down board by board and carried it up there where it's at now. And he built his house with the material that he got from down here on this house.
So that's why they didn't push down this. I always wondered about the foundation, and the stone pillars are still there. and the old chimney rock's still there, but there's no wood.
They didn't push it down. Uncle Ty and them came down here and took it down piece by piece. Weatherboard took the top off of it, took the weatherboard and all, took all the studding.
And the Corps, when the Corps took over that prop, did they sell the rights to do that, or could you just go get one of those houses that people had abandoned that were going to get?
No, you had to buy it. You had to buy it back from the Corps.
You just bought the
Get
house,
it
not
deeded
the
back to
property.
you. And I don't know, but I imagine that Papa Vickers, I think you might have been the owner of the property, had an option to keep his buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that's the way it was. And I bet Papa Vickers kept the building that had a barn on it and a house, and I bet that's the way it was.
He had the rights to sell them if he wanted to.
And Papa Vickers probably gave it to Uncle Ty or sold it to Uncle Ty.
But so all of his land is underwater. That's why.
No, that was his land.
But that's
over there.
Corps land. So that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't
Yeah.
have any land like that was sold to the public. All of his land is either underwater or Corps.
Yeah,
That's
Corps
why
come
he
in here and
didn't-
bought.
yeah,
The
okay.
Corps came in and
That's why he
bought
didn't have the
every.
option to buy land.
They bought every inch of his property.
Okay. That makes
And now
that makes
his
sense.
two brothers, Uncle Tom and Uncle Yank, they were able to keep a huge part of their property.
Yeah. Okay.
But Papa Vickers was on down
On the water.
here lower, and they took all of his property.
Got it. That makes sense.
Well, that's good.
Buy any.
I got kids that got to eat
Yes.
Subway.
I have bought me a book, and if I ever get started, I'm going to write down what I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Well,
what
you
I
need to do videos. Matt said he would love to take you and do videos like
Not him.
Lewinsky. He would love to have like videos of it.
But I bought me a book. I'm gonna put down what I.
So you don't want
remember.
Matt to do it because he'll see this video because this will be.
Oh, you can see that. I don't care. I'm gonna write down in my book. I told Linda